Alright, so I'm having some issues being able to record online, so I can't record on DN. So I'm gonna have to do this deck profile with my little DN deck profiler app that I made. Alright, so this is Apoqliphort killer, however way you pronounce it. I call him AP killer. You should already know his effects. He's unaffected by spells, traps, and monster effects that are lower than his level / lower than rank 10. His summoning conditions require 3 call-offs, tributes. He can once per turn send a monster on your opponent's side of the field to the graveyard. It has a continuous effect that when your opponent special summons a monster, that monster loses 500 attack. So it makes it hard to run him over or bunk heads with him by that little extra ability. We got Apoqliphort disc. All of these, including archive, genome, and shell, and tool, they all have the effect that if they're in your pendulum zones, you can't special summon anything that is not a Apoqliphort monster. So it makes it hard for exceed summon, synchro plays, and stuff like that, right? While they're in the pendulum zone. They all have the effect that you can normal summon them without tribute. They just become level 4 1800s, so that's good. So pretty much won't have a dead draw if you draw them. You can always summon them. Of course, with skill drain, they'll get their power back plus levels. They have scales. This has scale 1. Archive has scale 1, while genome has a scale 9, and shell has a scale 9, and also tool has a scale of 9. So you can pendulum summon between 1 and 9, you know, from 2 to 8. We have, there are other effects that don't really matter much. I'm not going to waste time trying to give you their individual effects. I just mainly use them as beat sticks. That's all they really are. See, this one's a normal pendulum, while the other ones are effect pendulums. Tool, his effect is worth mentioning because when he's in a pendulum zone, you can pay 800 once per turn to add a Apoqliphort monster from your deck to your hand. So that way you can get what you need in order to summon AP killer. Odd Eye's Pendulum Dragon is just to help you roll a tool, and tool will get you all the other ones. Right. Plus, he's useful when he gives you the scale of 4. Because from 4 to 9, you know, you can summon all these, because all these go from level 5 all the way to level 8. So he helps with the scale. A good combo is playing Odd Eyes and Tool. Use Tool's effect to add any of the pendulum monsters. Typically I like getting the strong ones like Disc or Shell. Add that to my hand. Then pendulum summon it. Just because I can. Ironically, whether you pendulum summon or you normal summon, it'll still reduce its power to 1800. So that's a little weird, you know, that you pendulum summon and they're not strong. So that's a little weird. You think by pendulum summoning they'll be at full power, but they're not. So they still lose their full power when you pendulum summon them. But that's where skill drain comes in, to get rid of that effect and make it where once you pendulum, they're at full power, ready to take down your opponent and win you the duel. Also, another effect that these Apoqliphorts have is when they're in your pendulum zone, all Apoqliphort monsters you control gain 300 attack, and the effect stacks. So if you have 2 of these in your pendulum, 2 Apoqliphorts in your pendulum zones, a 600 to all your attacks. So you can make a 2800 into a 3400, which is really good, because you can run over a lot of things with 3400. Extra full, in case you don't draw the skill drain, or you just need the ability to make a big strong monster in a single turn. Extra full is great for that, because not only gives you 1000 boost, it also negates your effect. So if you special or normal summon any of the Apoqliphort monsters, extra full will negate their effect, so they'll be back to their original level. They'll be back to their original power. Like Shell will be back to 28, plus an extra 1000, so you'll be at 3800. And if you have any of these, if you have any Apoqliphorts in your pendulum zone, that's an extra 300. Make them 38 plus 3. 38, 3, that's 4100. So you just made a 4100, you know, so that's awesome. Can't argue with that. Plus, if you pendulum summon a whole bunch of these in one turn, that extra 1000 comes in handy. Especially if you don't have skill drain in the field, you know, that extra 1000 comes in handy, especially when you're, because think about Shell will be 1800 when whether you're normal or pendulum summon it. But if you give it extra full, it'll be 38, along with any power boost other than this. So obviously this is a big beat deck. It's all about beating down your opponent, making big beefy monsters. Extra full is great for that. Plus extra full acts like a chalice in a way, because you can negate certain monster effects. Let's say there's a monster that can't be destroyed by battle, you could equip it with this and run it over. So this could be your out to a lot of things. For example, you can equip this to Ophion, and that will prevent Ophion from preventing you from special summoning, which is pendulum summoning. You know, pendulum summoning a lot of your big boys. So that's useful in that regard. You got Bait Doll, MST, red screen, staples, you know what to do with them. Phoenix Wing Blast, it replaces Regeki Break, because a lot of monsters can't be destroyed by card effects. There's a lot of cards that you can't be destroyed by card effects, so this comes in handy. There's certain monsters that you really want to get rid of. This comes in handy for that. Skill Drain, already mentioned that it helps the Apoqliphorts be at full power. Lure removal, so you can go for game. So even if you pendulum summon them with only 1800 attack each, lure removal will double their attack, so it'll be 3600 each, and you can just OTK. And don't really need space for the don't need an extra deck, because it's a pretty simple basic generic deck. It's just a basic beatdown deck, so don't need any extra gimmicks. They already work just fine as they are built. And that's the end of the deck profile.